live. Alrighty. I missed last week because I felt like it. Now, I'm going to turn myself up in my headphones slightly because I can. So, happy Monday. As I mentioned in a recent video, have a increasingly new favorite DAW. Wasn't expecting that. I've been a Reaper fan for years. I originally used Pro Tools, like a lot of people. I was on Cubase for a really long time. All of them are good. Reaper is still my favorite for just click and go. If you're looking for a DAW to record on, not necessarily for mixing, Reaper is, well, let me rephrase that. Reaper is really good for mixing, editing, recording, which for a lot of people out there is 100% what they're doing. I've started doing more MIDI and loop-based stuff, and Mixcraft is kind of won in that regard for me. So, now, I'm over here in the corner. You can see my stuff down here. Something I've discovered is because sometimes if I bring up a VST or something like that, it'll be in a window. If I just do window capture, OBS doesn't capture it. So pro tip there. If OBS is picking up this stuff too loud, we'll do some other stuff with it. But yeah, now one thing I do want to bring into the equation, if you like the look of Mixcraft 9, you can get it and more on Humble Bundle. I have no affiliation with Mixcraft, or Acoustica, I guess is who makes it. But I am a partner with Humble Bundle. So if you buy that, it supports the channel, which is cool. I like that that's a thing now. I do have another sponsored video coming, which hasn't happened in a long while. Sponsored in the sense of they're going to send me something, I'm going to review it. It's just a lighting company I've never heard of, but I was like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. Gives me another video to make. But yeah, that's why I switched myself over to this corner here. Oh, you can't. Interesting. You can't see my mouse if it goes behind me. I'll have to remember that. Because then if I get any desktop notifications, you don't see them. Yeah. Anyway, this is Mixcraft. So this is 10.5. The one that's on sale, sort of. I don't know if you call it a sale. The one that's on Humble Bundle right now is the 9 point whatever release. So it will be missing some of this stuff. One of my big gripes with Mixcraft 9 was it would, well, two problems I ran into it. One is less of an issue, but the other one was a bigger one. One, it did not handle 4K video very well. I can kind of forgive that. It's a DAW. But one of its claims was that you can use it for video editing, which for me is nice because I am a big audio guy. If you're doing an audio-based channel, you want the best audio for your videos. I can tell you right now, my least watched videos, or sorry, not necessarily least watched, my least upvoted videos are the ones that have the worst audio quality. Where I, was using like a lapel mic through my phone because I was doing like an unboxing or something. Those get the most downvotes. It's just the way it is every time. So I'm a big audio guy. So being able to edit a video in this would be really handy. So I haven't tested out video on here yet. I don't know if I'll get to that today. But the other big gripe I had was it always crashed when I was using Waves plugins. Now, Waves are not the end-all be-all they used to be. I think a lot of other companies have caught up to their, there was a time where Waves was the top of the top. And now, not only did they kind of crap on their legacy a bit by doing that weird all-in, we're not going to sells. Oh no, we're canceling that because you all hate it, kind of thing. They moved away from that, thankfully, and then they moved back to just you can buy individual plugins. They are, if you buy them outright normally, I would say in today's market they are expensive. I wouldn't say overpriced, but they are an expensive plugin. But they have this really annoying thing called the Waves shell. Waves shell. Essentially, all of their VSTs run through that so that you don't necessarily need iLok anymore, which I'm grateful for because iLok is the worst, and any company that's using it still, especially that dongle. Oh, God. The iLok dongle. I have one somewhere. I've got a Steinberg Cubase dongle somewhere, too. It was just, this is expensive software. They're trying to make sure you don't rip it off, but they were punishing their legal users. It's a tight rope to walk. But now, hey, they have Waves plugins on their official store. That's cool. So you may guess from that, it is working proper now. Now, what I do hate about Mixcraft 10.5 and 10 is that they do have a store built in. It feels very microtransaction video gamey to me, but it's not too obnoxious. I just wish, I wonder if there is a way, interesting, undock this window. I wonder if that lets me get rid of it. I do want to explore the store more, so I don't want to get rid of it at this second, but I do have a suspicion. Let's see here. If I undock that. Oh, okay. So this undocks the whole thing. It doesn't get, it's not just the individual. That's a little annoying because I do wish I could have, say, my mixer of visible while I'm looking at the library or at sound and stuff. Yeah, so that's a little bit annoying that the store, I don't know if there's a way, oh, there's 3 bars. Usually the 3 bars means menu. Yeah, I'll have to see if there's a way to get rid of the store, right? Not get rid of it, but have it less front and center. Excuse me. I will be happy. Yeah, I understand why it's there, and it has potentially some use, right? Rather than going to a third-party website, you can buy direct through your DAW. They're not charging a lot for this DAW, but this is also not free. So that's usually my standard when it comes to, do I like what a company is doing with microtransactions or not? Is it free? I will give them a lot more leeway. Anyway, so like I said, this is a lot more loop-based, very grid-based music production. And I really like it. I've heard it compared to Ableton Live. And I think it holds true to that, where you can kind of use as like a performance mode kind of version built into this, that you can use it a bit more like that and have, I've got a launch pad at work I need to remember to bring home to experiment with on this. Being able to use it to make some live beats or something, especially these days where I do from time to time work with rap and hip hop artists and stuff, being able to make stuff like that on the fly could be very useful. But not really my thing yet, but it is there. I can't really review it well because it's not something I've done before. Other than like I said, I've messed around with it a little bit in Cubase 9, or not Cubase 9, Mixcraft 9. But that's the thing when it comes to Cubase, which was on my mind there. That is, a more go-to option for people who want to do music production as opposed to just, and these terms get all wishy-washy, right? A music producer means, in the olden days, the guy who was either writing the check or basically supervising things and like sitting down with the engineer, telling the engineer what they wanted, and they would consult with the band, but the producer would often have the final say just to help push things along, right? That's, in a rock band setting, tends to be more what we think of when we think of that. Music production, we tend to think of it, I'm making a song in my computer from scratch, right? So when I say music production, in this case, that's more what I mean. And it is very, very useful. I've talked a little bit in a previous video about Music Maker. I'm not a fan of that program for the simple reason of it is more expensive in the end. They have these, like, it's very video gameized. Like, I'm going to do a full review / walkthrough on that at one point. But they'll say, oh, this has 95 sounds, but it'll be the same loop in 8 different keys. And I don't like that. I think that's one sound in X amount of keys. What they do on here, if I go 60s protest rock, we have all of our tempo stuff, bunch of drum beats, lead guitar, phrase 1, lead guitar, phrase 2, lead riff 1. And it tells you it's in A minor, and it's this kind of sound. It tells you the author. The other thing I like about this compared to stuff like Music Maker is it's a lot easier to bring your own sounds into this library. Now, the library, this isn't my work library. This is my home library. So this is all stock sounds. This comes with 7,958 of them. It's a lot. Now, some of them are things like this, where it's just 6 different fills, some 1 bar, some 2 bars. It's still, though, they're not saying guitar phrase 1 in A minor, B minor, C minor, G minor, right? And then calling that 5 different things. But now, I have this set to key of C. So if I bring in these, well, before I bring something in, here's the other thing I love. So I can hear every sound beforehand, but you'll notice that's like instantaneous now. If I click on guitar phrase 2, blink and you'll miss it, but you will see a downloading box. Now, if you are not connected to the internet, this is a bit more of an annoyance, but the way that I have this configured now, I think there's a way to adjust this. I can go and download a bunch of these in bulk, but right now it's set up, at least, that I click on it and it will download it. So I don't have 7,958 sounds and or loops at my disposal if I'm offline. But it also means I don't have 7,958 loops saved on my computer using a bunch of space. If I never make something that uses 80s video games sounds, I don't want all of those. So let's say, though, I go over here. These are all in C minor. Distorted short chorus riff 1 in C minor. Yeah, let's try that one. I think I used that in one of my... Oh, I think I used that. You might have heard that in one of my video intros, because I use this all the time to make quick, like 20-second intro outro music, so I don't have to go to a royalty-free collection. I have one. I've got a really big one actually, because Humble Bundle is great for that kind of thing. Because every now and then, I am starting to do more corporate events, and at some of those they need royalty-free music throughout the night, because then if they film something, they don't want it to be pulled down. So having a royalty-free library of stuff to play is quite nice. But let's use this one here. So we drag that in. We'll put that on audio track 1. Now, thankfully, it automatically renames it. It asks if I want to change my key and my timing. I'm going to click yes. So you see the whole grid changes to match that. Now it's going to stop asking me that, which is very nice. Very nice to have. Now this, I think... That's like the bass line that matches with it perfectly. There's bass riff 1. Full chorus riff. Right? So the way these are designed, they call them song kits, right? I think there's a few other names for them, where if I wanted to quickly make a very cohesive, easily built song, I can just stick to this kit, and every one of these is going to get along. But let's say I like the sound of this guitar line, but I want... Do they have any bass in this one? No, they might not. Guitar rhythm 1A. Not the best fit, but is what I'm going to use. As soon as I drag it in, it's going to automatically switch that to the right key. And now it also adjusts its tempo. Now sometimes, this is the one annoyance I have, and maybe there's a way to fix it in the settings. I don't actually hear this in the right key when I'm doing my my quick listen down here on the preview. There might be a way to change that. But now when I play them together, they do work together. Hey, organ bass. Not a big fan of that. Hair metal, bass line A in E minor. Right, so this is in E minor. Now, when I bring it in, again, that doesn't sound right. So I actually don't know until I do this if these are going to work together or not. That's a little bit annoying. Now, I also want... now, scroll wheel does that. So zooms in from a horizontal perspective. I want to make these bigger vertically. Hey, it lets me do it. And I do like this as well. It lets you do it individually. So say I never need to mess around with that bass line again. Oh, and it'll even sum it down to a single track if I want, just for visual sake. That's kind of cool. I like that. But I wanted just an easier way to grab and go on these. So that's what we got so far. How is this sounding? Now, it's going to sound horrible. It's cluttered as hell. So I can take this guitar and drop it down. All right. Not completely satisfied with that, but again, you don't know until you add this in. Now, if I go back to, sound will let me do some editing here. That's kind of nice. Because that is the current sound that I have. Oh, there we go, transpose, so I can hear it then in different, okay, that's nice. That's nice. I like that. Okay, I figured that out. Cool. I have not watched any tutorials on this. I've just messed around with it a little bit. So now I'm not a big fan of that baseline. I'm gonna delete that. I don't mind it, but I want. Let's go back to now. Protest Rock didn't have. Well, it has the organ bass. I liked organ bass too. I'm going to click and drag that in here. Now, here's the actual 2 seconds. Unimportant for now. Important, but not time sensitive. All right. Here is the actual big value of Mixcraft here. So let's say this should sound a bit better. So this bass line works perfect with the which of these was it? I believe it was riff 1 up here. Those are from the same kit. So those like work. Or oh no, this was from the Protest Rock. All right. So these two are perfectly in theory those two work perfectly. And because this one worked well with it. Now you can go in and like if I go and I wonder if there's a remove all solo button. There might be somewhere in the hotkeys. That's something I'm gonna need to find because solo is one of those things where, especially when you get up to enough tracks, you'll often want to exploit that for just ease of like I don't want to mute 20 things, but then having to track them all down. Interesting. All right. I don't want to track it all down. Like if I've got 50 tracks and like 2 of them are soloed, and then like, okay, which ones were the? Now, thankfully, it does highlight. Like it. I like this visual cue. I have seen other DAWs that don't do that. I really like that visual cue. I'm curious. I haven't used. There's quite a few I haven't used in quite a few years, so I'm wondering if that's a more common trait than I think. But I do quite like that. But if I don't like this bass line, or if I like this bass line but I don't like the instrument, I go right-click on here. Convert audio clip to MIDI. So now I've got the original and I've got this set of MIDI notes underneath. That right now is going to be an acoustic piano. Let's see how well it did. Cool. So it turned it to MIDI and then put an acoustic piano on it. Now, I don't want it to be that. So bass, fingered bass. Let's see how that sounds. Fretless bass. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to do that. And then I need to copy. Now, did it do what I hope it did? Will this let me click and drag and then turn this into a loop? No? Okay, that's a bit of a shortfall on this. Let's see if I can do this better. So if I go delete, turn off solo, turn off mute, turn this back into just its original loop. Convert to MIDI. Okay, so now if I do this as a loop, hey, there we go. Okay, that's a little janky. I'm not too big a fan of that, but it's easy. There's multiple ways to work around that. Oh, but it does. Ugh, guys, I don't like that. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is it didn't line up the MIDI conversion directly with where I was. So it did up to here, but then for some reason added an extra bar. I'm going to have to figure out how to make it not do that anymore. There's ways around that. For example, what I'm doing here. Control V. Hey! So now I've got a bass line. And again, it's acoustic piano is the default. I'm okay with that. These are the included instruments. I have experimented with this on my work computer, and you can do a different instrument if you would like. But it is actually pretty... Medler's bass? What? Oh, okay. I think I know what that means. That's got... Now, interestingly, and this is I think that has like a heavy amount of echo going on, because I heard like a dunk way out here. Something else you can do. Oh, no, don't want that. I want this to... Oh, I don't know why. I'm clicking and dragging stuff and not 100% sure why. Oh, interesting. Okay, so now I've got the whole thing selected. I should be able to loop it now. I don't know what this Medler's thing is. I've not come across that. If anybody's curious, spacebar. Spacebar is play pause. Enter is play stop. As is tradition. So the echoes are like an octave up. That's kind of neat. But yeah, I can just have us on loop now. Waits walk. I think that's my favorite one so far. But then you just... Right now, any monophonic track can be turned into a MIDI track. So what I mean by that is I'm fairly certain. I haven't actually tested this before, but this is going to go and it's going to do this here. Now, if I go, I have not tried this. Let's try it out. I'm going to make a new. Well, I got a track down here. Where's a drum track? I'm just curious what happens if I take a drum beat and try to convert it to MIDI. Is it going to just self-destruct? I like that. All right, so if I bring this into here. Whoa. All right. Why do I have two? All right, so I've got this here. I'm just gonna see what happens if I do this. I haven't done this before. Convert audio track to MIDI. All right, so yeah, that's kind of what I. I wanted to delete that one. I want to delete that. It's kind of what I expected to happen. It's catching the main hits, but it doesn't know what note to do them, so it's just doing them all in the same note. that can be really useful if you have, so for example, there's like Afro-Cuban here. There is going to be like bongo. So that, even though, well, that's two tones, you probably wouldn't get to the da da da, the two tones going, but you could convert that to MIDI to have just an exact, right? So if you're recording your drums, for example, you isolate your kick drum. You might have to gate it and then create a new file based on that gate, like mix down the track for this to work. I have to, there might be a setting in the convert to MIDI to do it, because I know there's a way to basically turn an audio track into a trigger on just about any piece of software. But it does take a little bit of doing. It does take a little bit of effort to convince the software to do it. This is just so nice that it is auto. So it won't really let me do that in here. So let's just bring that, and then there's our loop. So that sounded pretty good. Right? For and this is like the cheater half-ass I'm not going to edit the loops to be just like, I've seen some where people go as far as they find like, instead of using a full bar, they'll use a half of a bar of one and combine it with another, and they'll make their own kind of thing. Now, some pro tips on this stuff. From again, somebody who's not necessarily pro at this software, but I do like to think I've got a pretty good ear for some of this stuff, as well as a pretty good knowledge base. Number one, I would recommend don't go too far outside of the key of the original. If you don't know what that means, I recommend some music theory. But just think of your alphabet. A to B to C is all pretty close. But going from, say, B to G is going to be a much bigger jump or drop. Now, I believe under sound here, the transposing that they let you do, you can actually manually adjust up or down. So again, if you're not familiar with music theory, here's your crash course. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's your octave. In North American, European, right, we tend to use the 12-tone system, where you have 8 notes, sort of. It's actually 7 notes plus 5 sharps and flats, which are both sharp or flat, depending. Guitarists often go outside of this, where we use semitone, quarter tone bends and stuff like that to get, those notes in between the notes and stuff like that. But on a piano, you have 12 tones. And because since even long before Beethoven, we wrote every orchestral piece and everything on piano before it being sent out to the world, that locks it all in. A violin can play way more than 12 tones, but they don't in North American music. If you ever listen to guitar players out there, look up some stuff on the oud, the grandfather of the guitar, and you'll hear some cool stuff there. I believe sitars can do quarter tones, right? Anything out of, basically India and that area. It's why a lot of music from that region to North American ears sounds horrendous at first, because you are not accustomed to hearing, like, you're used to, here's B and here's C. They're singing a note that's in between them, and your ear goes, wait, that's not right. But the more you listen to it, the easier it gets to hear it, for lack of a better way of putting it. And yeah, there's a few artists out there who are experimenting with like music that is either atonal, where it just ignores a lot of this stuff. I believe that's the term. Oh man, my college experience is just falling apart in front of me. In terms of remembering all my terms 100% straight. But there's others who are using systems that use more tones and stuff and just experimenting with it, especially in the more digital realm, because I just had it was like a 3-comment civil debate with somebody talking about a sonic maximizer, and I just basically told the guy, like, they're useless now if you own an active system, because the DSP in your speaker is going to outdo what the sonic maximizer can do. Because sonic maximizers, they're actually kind of neat in how they do things. They change the phase, aka timing, of your lows versus your highs, right? Which can be good. It can also really screw things up. But phase adjustments can be done much, much better in a digital realm, because, yeah, you can turn the knobs and you have those micro adjustments, but recreating them perfectly for a speaker to make the speaker optimal in terms of its phase alignment between your compression driver and the woofer underneath, you can do it better in the digital realm. This stuff is a lot more optimized for this kind of stuff. But anyway, I got my loop here. Now I wonder, will it let me go and edit? Now, do I have the loop highlighted, or do I have? So that's what it looks like when I have the track highlighted. I wonder, is there a way to duplicate the loop? Because here's what I'm trying to do. And actually, oh, you know what? It'll let me do it if I do it this way. I'm curious how well it does this. Because I have had... Yeah, no. It's going to make me do it manually. But then it's actually pretty easy. So I can go and I can just click and drag this to the end of the earth. And now I've got this loop happening again and again. This is the little bit of a mix up here where copy, paste, 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 paste. All right. So now I have this. How long is this? 25 seconds. So I'd probably make this a little bit longer, but for an intro to a track, we're just gonna go with this. But anyway, so I've got this now. Now, if I want to make some stuff a little different, so go in here. We've got some reverb and stuff going here. Now, if I want to do... So, if you go into effects, you've got effects chains. Now, this can be pretty sweet. So, for example, if you have, like, let's say kick tight, right? We're not going to use this. But it automatically puts in a gate, then a compressor, and then an equalizer. Show, and then it shows you the equalizer they're using. I love equalizers like this. Be forewarned, if you are picking up the 9 point whatever version, or going up to this 10.5 version, the version I am using is the Pro Studio. And I will say, again, no affiliation with Mixcraft, but I have been learning about it a bunch as of late because I quite like the software. So I'm just going to bring this up. This is actually very accurate. I will say that. Oh, right. Sound effects. I always get jumbled up when I hear sound effects because I think like VSTs, but what they actually mean is like Foley stuff. Again, this is actually a really useful piece of software for video because if somebody sent me a video clip and they wanted Foley added to it, I wouldn't do it in my video editor. My video editor for sound is just dog shit compared to using something like this. Yeah, this would work so much better. Okay, so oh, interesting. I didn't know that the stem separation was part of Pro Studio. Well, we might look at that. I did a whole video on it in recent past. I don't think we'll look at it in this video, but I do recommend going and checking that out. The stem separation on Mixcraft is just okay, but when you combine it with the MIDI, like right click to MIDI using they're using Melodyne. This is a classic case of if somebody else does it and they do it better than you, just let them do it. Melodyne is good. They have some of the best pitch correction in the industry. They were the first to start opening the doors, in my opinion, to things like stem separation. Because if you look up, I remember seeing it demoed, and it hurt my friend's soul. Because I was like, dude, you gotta check this out. This is insane. They had a track, and like, oh, and it was obvious, like, they did it on purpose, but the guitar player played an A major instead of an A minor. They went in and they edited down the C sharp to a C. And that shouldn't work. You shouldn't be able to go into a chord played by an instrument that is a single wave file and be able to pull down a note within those notes. But they figured it out. And now we have their other stuff. But anyway, what I was actually going to get at, like I said, there's a few things I've done here that you can't do with the 9 point whatever or the 10.5. And one of them is the Melodyne stuff in terms of the audio to MIDI converter, which also then doubles as your pitch correction software. I have some other pitch correction stuff that I'm going to be recording myself in the near future. I might A/B it a little bit, and I don't plan on using a lot of pitch correction on me, but I need to see which one of these sounds the most natural. So essentially, I'm going to try all the ones I have and see which one drives me the least amount of nuts on my own voice with it cranked up a little higher than I normally would. Because that's the thing. Like, when it comes to pitch correction, unless you're trying for the T-Pain way over the top sound, for those who actually understand that reference anymore, the more natural it sounds, the better. So if you can stand it on your own voice, it's probably the right call. But yeah, those are the few major differences between the recording studio and the Pro Studio version. With this in particular, the stem separation, that is new for 10 and 10.5, as is the layout. Like, there's a few other things that are kind of different between 9 and 10. But the big thing between the recording studio and Pro Studio is the included instruments and the included effects. So a lot of them are included on the recording studio version. So if you're doing this as a hobby, don't bother. Just get the recording studio version. Even unless you're using Waves plugins, which you don't need, trust me. I just have them, so I want to be able to use them. Is my take on it. Using the recording studio version is going to be more than easy enough. The big difference between these two is that you get a bunch of iZotope Mastering Essentials. Is actually pretty sweet. I think on its own costs more than upgrading. So there are reasons to do upgrades, but the big difference is going to be the Melodyne and audio to MIDI. If you are going from recording studio to Pro Studio, that's the biggest difference in my opinion, as well as the difference between that and the 9 versus the 10 is going to be the stem separation, which right now the stem separation is just okay. You guys got to fix it up. The fact that the DJ softwares out there are doing this better than the DAW is pains me a little bit. It's doing it okay, but it shouldn't. It should be better. But then under upgrade, here's the thing. So if you have, oh, do they put these on sale again? Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, so like if you have the recording studio version of say 9. Oh, wow. That's actually sweet. It is the same cost to upgrade from Recording Studio 9 as it would be from Recording Studio 10. So highly, 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 highly recommend that Humble Bundle. Oh boy, that is actually sweet because you get 9, and then you get, at these current rates at least, you spend the $80. So you get the DAW for 20, and then you upgrade it for 80. And what's its going rate right now? So 150. These numbers are. I wouldn't say those numbers are disingenuous. It is a little odd though that they say that like this is normally 200 to buy, so the upgrade price is, even though it's like on sale for 150. This seems to be one of those forever on sale situations. I don't think I've seen it for less than 150 since they put out the 10 version, but I also haven't been watching it too closely. What I will say, good on them for this. It costs $80 to buy the recording studio version, and then it's only $80 to upgrade, meaning it is only a $10 difference buying it outright versus buying the initial purchase and then upgrading. That is very reasonable. And at this rate, this is actually a pretty reasonable price. But I will say, not as crazy of a deal if you buy, like, get the thing for $20 and then do the upgrade, and then you're saving yourself $50 in the end. But I would also wait until, if you can, wait until Black Friday. Every year on Black Friday, they put this stuff on sale. So I have a high suspicion it will be a gain. So if you get the Humble Bundle thing and then you like it, hold out for that. And yeah, but I will say, actually, seeing this upgrade path, like, I don't think I would ever bother doing this first tier. Just go straight for this. Because again, the big difference is you get all of these VSTs and an extra $50 to get an extra 50 VSTs. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, man, I'm all over the place, but this is what combination of a good night's sleep and a lot of coffee does to me. Yeah, I went to go to bed. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch a YouTube video or two, unwind just on my own, out like a light, and just slept right through the night on the sofa. Woke up to brush my teeth and go back to the real bed, which was a good decision. But yeah, I apparently needed it. Anyway, so back to our presets. What I was actually going to get at is some of these TB gate, TB compressor, TB equalizer. Are these are not included in the lower end version of it. I will say, for its price, the Recording Studio version is really nice, but if you want those extra instruments and those extra VSTs, it becomes a lot less worth it when you look at how inexpensive the Pro Studio version is. But hold out to Black Friday if you can. Save yourself some money. Where am I here? Where am I? There we go. All right. So I do like that they have these auto things, and you can make your own. So we're dealing with a electric guitar, Rock ballad, vintage tone. Adds a 31 band equalizer, a reverb, and what I'm assuming is a compressor. Nope, that is. Oh, interesting. It's like a tape emulation. Okay. Well, let's. And then here's what you can do. You hit play. I like what it's doing. Now, you can go in and you can do this all manually. I like that, so I'm going to leave that on. But let's go back to our bass here. Although actually that was using the Pro Studio Reverb. What is it? Now can I? And I can change. You can change the order. That's always nice, just being able to click and drag. So I can click Save New Preset. Enter the name. This demo song. Here's why I'm doing that. Now, the old way of doing this that I would normally recommend doing, if you can, is you do a mix bus, like an aux channel kind of thing, that has your reverb on it, so that everything goes through the same reverb engine. Saves you processing power, and now everything sounds like it's in the same room. But now that I've made that preset, I can go on to my acoustic bass here, which normally I don't like adding too much reverb on bass. You got to be careful of that. But let's solo this up. We're going to add, that was the Pro Studio Reverb. This demo song. So it's adding just like a hint of reverb to it, but now it sounds like it's in the same room. Now, again, I wouldn't normally do it that way. I would normally do an aux thing, especially because when you're doing a reverb, doing it as an aux channel does something very, very nice. When you turn your track down, it hits the reverb engine less, so you get less reverb on that instrument, which makes it sound more natural, because if they're in the same room, if you have a room that has a bit of echo, right, which is essentially what reverb is, I guess the reverberation of the sound hitting the wall and coming back at you. That's why I'm using a dynamic microphone, because I got a nice hard wall beside me here. This is not an ideal recording environment. But when I hit that sound, like when I hit the guitar, you hit a drum, and then it makes noise in the room, you'll get a different sounding echo on your louder instruments than on your quieter ones. It's going to affect the room in like different ways and stuff. When you just have it on the track like that in the effects chain, when I pull the acoustic bass volume down, the reverb volume drops, but it's the bass itself is still hitting the reverb engine at the same volume. I keep saying reverb engine. It's not the best way to describe it. The plugin in this case, right? Or whatever box you're using, or the walls themselves, like whatever you're using to create your reverb. This isn't ideal, but this is how I'm doing it today, because modern computers can do that, but that's just a bit of a mixing tip. Now, I like the sound of that. What other effects do we got going here? So let's throw another one on. I want a compressor, but I want something fun. All right, I'm going to be showing off some mutant stuff soon. Multiband compressors don't need. What the heck is an X-Bass 4000? analog bass saturation / enhancer or enhanced processor. Okay, I'm gonna keep that on there. That's cool. That's adding some neat. Like it sounds like we're getting some, at least in my headphones. If you're listening to this on like your laptop speakers, you're probably not going to notice it. I have a suspicion. I see what's going on here. So, it's adding. Like this is basically it's strategically adding a tad bit, by the sound of it, of saturation and of I don't know what enhancer means in this case. Usually that just means saturation. But we're doing a, oh, you know what that's probably the boost. That's probably, so if I crank this. Yeah, like I wouldn't smash that up. But I'm willing to guess if I turn this enhance down. Oh, it's still adding something. Interesting. But it adds more when I do that. And it's saying that the frequency it's hitting at is, I believe, 65. Is there a way for me to make this bigger? This is the only problem I have with some of these programs is a lack of a way to expand. Because I have had my computer at work, we opted for a 42-inch 4K TV that had a low enough input lag that it would work as a monitor. Opted for that. It just worked better for huge amount of screen real estate. It was cheaper to buy a TV than it was to buy 2 monitors, so we just went for a big TV. But if I don't have my scaling figured out perfectly, it sucks. But yeah, I'm hearing some interesting stuff going on here. I don't like how little control it seems like I have. What it sounds to me is we've got a, because they're talking about a Q, which usually is like how big or how wide your equalizer is. So I think this is doing like a bass boost at 65 hertz. And then because of the way that's cued, it is giving you a bit of extra bass and a tad bit of sub bass, though hard to, sub bass is always tricky for me to hear. Especially, no, these headphones should be, I'm not being deceived by the sound of it. And then it's adding a bit of saturation. Now I don't know what this enhancer does, because like turning that up and down, it's one of those things of like I can kind of hear it doing something, but I don't know what that is. Saturation though is distortion. Anytime you see that, anytime you see like a warm knob, stuff like that. That's why on used to be gear slots. I think it's like the gear page. No, it's not the gear page. I don't know what they changed their name to. It might be the gear page. They actually put warm on their swear filter. So anyway, so I like what's going on here. I don't feel I need to do too much more than that. That was just like, I want to see what this plugin does. And like this stock, curious what happens if I, oof. Because yeah, those low notes, if you crank this up, they start to very much overload that channel. So that's another way to kind of tell what stuff like this is doing. Yeah, like it's almost this would sound probably pretty sweet on a this would probably sound pretty sweet on a kick drum. Just adding in that extra woof underneath that makes the subwoofer move. On my headphones, this sounds like one of those like, oh, it's just a more good plug-in. What other effect? Okay, I wanted a compressor. I probably should have done that before all that nonsense. I thought fat would be a compressor. I was wrong. Still learning some of these. I don't want bus compressors, but they just have a TB compressor. Now we're distorting to shit. Okay, where is my... Where's my tack into... Now, I'm liking what I'm seeing in this compressor. There's a side chain high pass filter. Without actually going in and experimenting with that, my assumption is that if I want to trigger this, I could do it with like a kick drum, so that the kick drum drops my volume. That's my assumption. Attack and release auto stuff, cool. Makeup gain is very, very useful, and I'm glad that's on here. But as you can hear from the volume that this bass currently is putting out, that was what was causing it to clip. That was just too much. And I like all the metering going on here. So this is our actual gain reduction. Yeah, that's fine. As you can see, when it comes to me and mixing, I like setting a preset and seeing if it does what I'm have in my head, and then I adjust it and stuff from there. Like that, I just turned on the compressor. It was doing about 2 dB of, like, between 1 and 2 decibels of gain reduction, which is normally what I want. Usually, on my analog compressors, I often will push the input gain up a little bit to kind of hit it a little harder and drop by about 3 decibels, and I find I like that sound, where it's that noticeable pull down. Everybody's a little different. There's 3-hour tutorials you can watch on just how to use a compressor, because they do go wild with how much they do. So let's hear this all in context. Sounds pretty good. Now again, normally I would just run an effects bus, but we're going to throw on these drums, because right now there's a tad bit of room reverb. Oh, that's full. I see. I was trying to look for an effect, but it was searching the full gamut here. But I just want an effect. I want reverb. I want that Pro Studio reverb. No, we're not going Hall. We're going that one, which I think was the Hall. So now it sounds like it's in the same room. You don't need a ton of reverb. Reverb, especially on drums, unless you're using it for an effect, the way you should do reverb, in my opinion, is you should only really notice it if it's missing, unless you're trying for like a cool, weird sound. Now, I want a... we're going to throw a bus compressor on here. Drum bus. Now, one thing I'm going to do, switch those. Compressor, almost always a good idea to have it before reverb. Now, that is too much gain reduction. new to this. Oh, mix. This is nice. All right. So mix, without testing this, my assumption. Oh, did it tell me if I hovered over it? Oh, I wish it did. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, just have to leave it for a while. This is really, really nice on a bus compressor because then you can have it really pump it. So instead of like my original, what I was trying to look for, I'm not seeing the input gain. That's a little. Well, that's something. So I'm not seeing input gain, but instead of just pulling the input gain down, what I can do is I can take this mix, I can crank this. Ooh, no, I want 50%, give or take. Now, what that's doing, that's really handy because I normally wouldn't use 5 decibels of gain reduction on my drum bus. It's not really my thing. But by having that much on there and doing the mix, it is essentially the compressed sound is being basically played at the same time as the uncompressed sound. So you get that compressed pumping kind of sound while letting the natural stuff come through, which given that this is a loop, that's actually kind of handy. So I get the benefits of a fairly compressed. Oh, is that saying I'm getting 10 decibels of gain reduction? I'm gonna have to experiment with this a little more. Oh, it did at one point. That's handy. You can reset those, and now I can actually. Yeah, so it's doing like a hefty amount of gain reduction. I would say 5 is more than I would normally do. Some people will slam it, and the honest truth is that in the digital world, it is okay to compress a bit more than we did in the analog realm, for the simple fact of analog gear often adds compression, right? If you're recording to tape, that tape is adding saturation. Like if your tape is adding saturation, that means you're hitting it hard. So hit stuff hard if it sounds good, and especially nowadays. But over compression does tend to just get a little blah. So if you don't want that, that's where having a mix comes in, because you got the best of both worlds. I'm slamming that thing pretty hard, just staying on their drum bus setting. I think the initial setting probably was what was given that 10 dB. And I haven't really messed with much else on here. And this is sounding great. So, again, this is like all half-assed done in a few minutes just using the presets. Yeah, so for what I'm doing, I dig that. Now let's hit this up. What do we have for wonky guitar effects? Do we have a phaser's not what I'm looking for. Filter. Don't think that's what I'm looking for. Envelope follower. Is this what I'm looking for? Kind of gives it a bit of a synthy vibe. That's kind of cool. Not sure if that's what I'm looking for or not, but let's hear it in context. Again, this is just like I'm making something for like a YouTube video intro. close all these. No, they stay open in the background. They're just not visual. So if I go here and I click effects, I can click show. But yeah. So like I said, there's a lot more nitty gritty stuff that I would do if I was like actually making this song. So hopefully people won't judge me too harshly for just like clicking and dragging a bunch of things and then throwing some presets on stuff. But feel free, it's the internet. Do whatever you want. But this is Mixcraft. It does let you do a bunch of cool stuff. Now down here is your piano roll. Like if I had a well, bam! Now I got an extra note in there, right? I do like that you can hear it. And then what's my delete for it? Yeah, get rid of it. So you can write your own stuff in that in the piano roll down there. Yeah, I don't know why. Now, will it? I wonder if that's what I needed to do. Is once it was done, if I did that. So now that I've done that, will this? Hey, that's the fix. That's the fix, everybody. So if I do that, and then I drag, and now it adds that extra beat. If I shrink it down, now it stays in line. Okay. Hey, figured it out. Like I said, I didn't go through the manual on this. It's just a cool program. It was cheap. Like I said, I got it on... Well, I bought 10 on Black Friday. I think I got my upgrade for $40 American. So, like I said, they usually put those upgrades on for 50% off on Black Friday. So if you get yourself Mixcraft 9 through the link in the description, you can get 9, see if you like it. I mean, it comes with enough loops and other stuff that if there's a different program you like it's just WAV files. You could move, or MP3s in some cases. I think you can download both. You can move them around to whatever software you like. So if you're more of like an Ableton guy, or if you're running Mac, like this doesn't work on Mac without some hefty. I think you got a dual boot or like all that kind of crap. Don't do it. Don't do stuff like that for audio. Audio at its core takes way less processing power than like anything else, right? Like my system is running, because I'm running OBS and stuff in the background here. This is my home system. It's a gaming PC, so I don't have the best processor, but I've got like a pretty decent graphics card in it. So my little 4-core 8-threader is not keeping up too well. Running, OBS. I've got Chrome open, which honestly that uses more than it's supposed to. And then I've got Mixcraft that's not using a whole lot. Like I'm running these tracks. Oh, you can't see that. I'm pointing to stuff that you can't. Oop, 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 oop. No, I want to click on me. Yeah, there I am. All right. That's with 3 instances of reverb and stuff all running at the same time. Like even on a potato of a computer, you're gonna find that this stuff should run fine. Video is what uses processing power. But yeah, like I said, I would highly recommend give the Mixcraft 9 a try. Where'd I put that? I think it's down here. Oh no, that's not it. Here we go. There we go. Like I said, give this a try. Right, comes with Mixcraft 9 recording studio, as well as some extra synths and stuff like that. And these are just VST and like virtual instruments. You can use these in whatever DAW you have. So if you have a different DAW, just do it. Store credit for buying more loops and stuff. I have this. I think I do. Stardust tape echo. Did that come with? I'm curious now. I'm not going to actually add it to the base. That would be kind of stupid. But no, I don't. So even if you have Mixcraft 10, double check this list against it. But I'm fairly certain you'll get like these loops, obviously. But some of these, like I know in the past they were giving away like the pianissimo, blah blah blah. But it was like, okay, but as soon as I upgrade, I already have these. But yeah, these like Mercury 4, Dream Synth, etc. The Tape Echo, like those, whatever this thing is, I don't. This thing's kind of wild. I've heard a bit of cool stuff on this. But yeah, if you go, you get Mixcraft 9, try it out, see if you like it. Again, even if you do buy it through my link, go to the Adjust Donation, Custom, and you can go like verp. And just give extra to the charity. Always recommend that. Highly recommend that. But then you can try Mixcraft 9, see if you like it, and if you do, for some reason, I don't know why they did it this way. It's very generous of them, but if you have Mixcraft 9 Recording Studio, it is the same price to upgrade to 10.5 as if you bought 10. So it's that $80 to upgrade. Wait until Black Friday when this is on sale for like $50. And then you're basically getting Mixcraft 10 full Pro Studio for $50 because of the extra stuff that comes with the Humble Bundle thing. That's my take on the matter. Again, I have no affiliation with Mixcraft, but if you use the link to the Humble Bundle and you buy it through that, it's in the description. I get a little bit of a kickback. So you can take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I do really like this software. This is for soundtrack loops. This is an interesting thing. It is a store credit. I believe it has an expiration date on it, which it's fine. But just be aware when it comes to soundtrack loops. I believe that was what that was from, right? I've bought some stuff from this site before, and because it's a credit, they don't have that. This can't be combined with other blah 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 blah. So you can go and you can get some in like their EDM bundle here that apparently has 20 gigs of stuff. And what I've done, like the last time I got my stuff, Oh, that's what I want. Specials and sales. Their site's taking a bit of time here. Watch it. I can see it spinning. So can you, because I'm doing screen share instead of window. Specials and sales. So you can go in here with your $15 credit and find like a really good deal on something. I'm seeing if there's anything under $15 that I would point you towards and be like, oh yeah, go grab this. Ooh, that's 6 gigs of drums for 28. That's actually not bad. And I've had good luck with their stuff. Free sleigh bells. Yeah. They got a Halloween bundle on for, yeah. So now these, I have a strong suspicion. Oh, and you know what? I think the pricing you're seeing on my screen might be in Canadian dollars. Because this says $10 for 25 and it's saying it's 14. That tells me these may be in Canadian. Oop. Why do they have a holiday gift That's weird. I just think they haven't updated some of the. Oh yeah, yeah. It says there at the top. We noticed you're visiting from Canada. We've updated your price to Canadian dollars for your shopping convenience. So anything you're seeing here, subtract about like 20% from it. I really doubt you can use. I'm willing to guess in the fine print. I'm like half willing to guess that you can't use that $15 store. That would be kind of funny. Honestly, this would be very funny if you can use. If anybody tests this theory, let me know. I actually, because I mean they might let it because they may not have put in the safeguard for it. Yeah, spend $10 and get $25 worth of sounds. You'll have access to hundreds of genres. Use your gift card to purchase multiple audio format and kits for tablets as well. Yeah, so I think you might be able to buy the $25 gift certificate for $10 of your $10 credit. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But yeah, that's kind of hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. Is I would go and I would find like a crazy deal they have and spend the 15, but maybe a few extra bucks or whatever on something like their EDM bundle or like whatever the heck your main genre of choice is. But then you also get these other sounds, right? Because these are all from soundtrack loops as well. So yeah, a whole bunch of them. And then again, the reason they partner with this bundle is those all work really well with this. And it's actually pretty easy to add. I might do a guide on that at some point if somebody feels that it needs to be done. But I doubt it. All right. I think that is plenty. So, yeah, like I said, I like it. I like this. I recommend it. It's fun. Can do a lot. And yeah, like the MIDI editing and stuff, it's what I'm getting into a bit more. I actually have I have access to, I kid you not, a floppy disk drive connection or a floppy disk collection. I need a drive for it of drum loops. I'm very intrigued. Yeah, I might see if I like some of them and if I can get them to work and pull them onto this computer, but I don't know. MIDI is an old format. It might work. Who knows? But you can do some fun stuff with this program very quickly, very easily. Like I said, you can go in and do all the nitty gritty on all of those effects plugins. You can build your own presets and stuff. If you're the kind of guy like me, where I use the same vocal chain on almost everybody in terms of, usually I have a compressor of choice. I believe it's from T-Rex. I usually use a vocal rider from Waves, not in that necessary order. And then like you have a that mutant reverb, for example. Although I actually think the mutant delay sounds better, but we'll get into that in a different video because I want to do a dedicated video on that because I'm also now part of that affiliate program. So I'm gonna try to make some money off of this YouTube channel. I don't currently, so whatever. But I also don't want to go too ham and then all of a sudden I'm making money but have no reputation. So, oh look, they added a dot. Hey, that's nice. So I can go in, I can go quarter note dotted and just go. This should take up a beat and a half if I click. Hey, Handy. Anyway, I've been me, you've been you. I'm going to have lunch and potentially a shower. So you all have a good day. Like I said, if you like Mixcraft or if you want to give it a try, that Humble Bundle is still up for a few days. If it goes away, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on this channel because I will do more videos on Mixcraft the next time it does pop up there. Again, I am going to preach this software because I like it. No affiliation with them, only with, not technically, like they don't call it affiliate anymore for like Humble and stuff because they don't know me. They don't want to necessarily be affiliated with me, though I'm a pretty nice guy. And yeah, I may, if somebody is interested, I might get out the, I might start testing. I have a launch pad. I might see if I can do some live loop-based stuff with this. I think that could be a lot of fun. But I've never done that before, so that could be a fun thing to try on stream and fail miserably at. We'll see. But I will see you in the next video. I am going to save this project. This is going to be live song thing. And I'm going to probably throw a quick master on that and pump it out and use it as an intro song now because that sounds pretty cool. Final pro tip though, because these loops are all easy for people to get, editing them more for professional use is going to be better because people won't recognize them as much if they happen to hear them, right? So going in and just making a song using the song kits, only really useful if you are doing, I need a royalty-free track for YouTube. Yeah, if you're going to use it for, say, a performer coming into the studio, I would do a bit more heavy-handed editing than I showed here. And I highly recommend not using stuff in the original key, because again, that starts to get where stuff starts to sound the same every time. But also, you will run into some really, really annoying stuff where, and this is the case with any royalty-free loop, right? Any company that says, yeah, here's our royalty-free loops. That company themselves might never copyright claim you, but somebody else who used it in a song that has, a copyright on it, they may say, oh, well, we used this drum like this. Not even, it's often not them. Oftentimes it is the automated systems on like YouTube or Twitch, or although Twitch is getting better for that. I might do a video on that in the near future. If you use, I'm using this like 10-second loop over and over and over again, and they use the same 10-second loop, the algorithm may think that you are using their 10-second loop, not a public domain or royalty-free 10-second loop. Gross. But I am actually going to go now. You all have a good day. I know I'm going to. And I might be back next week. I have a crazy week.